This is Today's Business Leaders. Actionable advice from real-world professionals. And now here's your host, Gabe Arnold.
All right, so on the show today, I have Pia Larson. She is the chief, chief imagination officer, which I love, of Fingerprint Marketing. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
You like that title?
I do. I was like, CIO, I know what that is. Oh, no, I don't.
Yeah, it's a great conversation starter.
Yeah, so we'll definitely, I want to hear about that. So we'll get to that here in a few minutes. To start out, tell me when you first realized you're an entrepreneur.
Well, it does start with my childhood, so I am going back a bit. Well, I come from a family of entrepreneurs and high-ticket sellers in my family. I'm actually from the U.S. Virgin Islands. I don't know if anyone out there is from the Caribbean, but born and raised on St. Croix, a little 28 long island. So it was pretty competitive locally. So I got my chops from my parents. But I mean, just what I remember, I knew that I could control my destiny and make as much money as I wanted from as far back as I could remember. I mean, I was selling lemons off our tree. I was writing a newsletter for our neighbors and just like talking them into like sharing, juicy gossip. My favorite was putting on a puppet show at 10. And not only did you have to pay for tickets, but I had premium seating in the front. So I surcharged for that. And for popcorn and soda, and like if you wanted like an agenda, I had cost for that. So yeah, I'm always. And then even today, I took up knitting and crocheting a week ago. I had one project on my plate, and I'm already thinking, oh my God, I could open an Etsy. What could I get for this? Like it's constant. It's a disease.
That is awesome. That is a classic entrepreneurial childhood.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm not alone, but it's kind of funny. Yeah.
I have never heard of people charging for a puppet show, let alone charging for premium seating and all the, add-ons. So that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Charged for a lot of weird things as a kid, but never that. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's hard to shake too. It's like I did corporate for 10 years. 15 years, and I was miserable.
Holy cow. How did you survive that long?
Oh my God. Because I thought I'm just kind of a rule follower. That's just me. I was like straight A student, follow the rules. And it's like, okay, you go to college and then you go get a real job and then you sit behind a desk and all that. And it all broke down when someone said, you need to color inside the lines. And you need to do your time in this business in order to get to where you want it. And I'm like, I'm out of here. So I want to color outside the lines and I want to like draw my own future. So
yeah, that's definitely super similar for me. I just cannot work inside of other people's systems, which is so weird because I love creating systems, but I don't.
Yeah.
My team knows this. I joke with them all the time, but I'm like, I build really strong processes so that we can scale and grow and, have quality and all that good stuff. And I basically refuse to use them. So I
don't work for you.
Yeah. I have like a simple thing. Like I have a sales handoff form that we do whenever there's a sale or whenever there's a change on account or anything like that. I make one of my assistants or somebody else do because I can't stand filling it out.
Well, I'm the same way though. I love processes because other people can do shit for me. Yes. And so just let me do my brilliance and then you guys can follow those damn processes, but there better be processes and they better be detailed. So.
Yeah, and I'm super particular about the processes that other people follow. So it's like the one thing that I used to feel really hypocritical about it, but then I realized that there's nobody on my team and I don't know a lot of people besides, other entrepreneurs who can create processes. So it's like that's my ticket. I can do it and help people grow and like I can map all that stuff out, but I'm not the guy to like if you could see the rest of my office, it's just
well, maybe we need to talk.
Yeah. So we'll deal with
We got
entrepreneurial.
a lot of stories here. We might have to break out a beer.
Yeah, definitely, and we'll deal with entrepreneurial mental illness later. But
Is there a support group? There needs to be a support group.
it should be. One of my friends started a group on Facebook that he ran for a while, and it was called the Entrepreneurs Pub. It was the awesomest idea. So
What was it? The Entrepreneur's what?
Entrepreneurs Pub, but he ended up having to shut it down. But the concept was super cool.
Oh,
So,
I love that. I love
so you're hustling. I mean, selling to people as a kid, and take us from that entrepreneurial moment where you clearly kind of saw it was possible, and give us kind of the short version of from there to here.
Yeah, absolutely. So 12 years ago on Valentine's Day, I got laid off from my corporate job and thought, okay, I'll just get another job. But fortunately, I had forged relationships in the real estate market because I was a marketing director, and they kind of followed me. So I was fortunate to have people come to me, okay, in the meantime, can you do this, this, and this? And so I did graphic design. And it became very clear to me that the biggest pillar was trust. People did not trust the industry, even 12 years ago when it was a little easier and it wasn't such the wild, wild west, right? But
Yeah.
people didn't know what they didn't know. There were new frontiers being, like Facebook was brand new. WordPress was just on the, kind of getting used to that. And they really trusted me, and they were like, okay, I just need someone to put it all together and handle it. And I literally learned while I grew. So I had no formal training. I have training in marketing, but I self-taught graphic design, web design, social media marketing, everything from scratch. And they basically just kept coming to me. Oh, have you heard of this? Can you do this? So I grew quickly. I have a virtual team now of 10. And now, like my title, my favorite thing to do is to help clients dream. So imagine what it would be like if you could do this, this, and this, and you could get 50% more clients in the door with one small tweak on your website. So kind of pushing them, and then also helping them see themselves like outside of their industry and look at other industries and what they're doing and kind of just go creatively wild. Like, let's just dream big and let's just be super creative. So that's why I do work with a lot of people who aren't so creative, because they don't have that vision. So that's kind of where I came from. I don't think I've ever thought about going back. I've thought about, like all entrepreneurs, we have our ups and downs, but I've never thought about going back to a cubicle or, doing it any different. It's amazing. I mean, the freedom, I fly all over the world. I just got back from Croatia and Italy for 4 weeks. And, I'm already booking 2019, but yet travel for us helps fire up our creativity so I can pass it on to our clients. So I think, so to get back to it, trust is what has helped me grow the business, and trusting in team and trusting and providing trust to my clients. So
That's huge.
yeah.
That's something that I don't think that people like consciously or vocally bring to the front when it's like the core of everything.
Well, you're doing something right when your biggest client just says, okay, you have my credit card. Whatever you need to make it happen, just make it happen.
Yeah.
That's where you're like, okay. And there's a lot of other stuff behind that word trust, right? There's like, what do you mean by that? And I'm like, it means that I deliver results. It means that you can trust that my team will do what they say they're going to do. It means that you can trust that I am on the cutting edge and staying current, so you don't have to worry about it. So there's my definition of it. Of course, other people have their definition of it. So, because we can't really compete anymore on price, and even customer service is kind of a rat race, because everyone is like on Messenger and they're just like very or they're getting to be more responsive. So it's just really building that trust.
Yeah.
So
I couldn't agree more. I think that's huge. And there's practices I'm sure that you have in place that build that trust, which I want to get to in a minute.
yeah.
And I also want to point something out really interesting. I've never heard, I mean, this is just probably me not paying attention, but I've never heard anybody identify, oh, I only work with non-creative people. Like that's like a pretty big eye opener for me, of somebody that's been in the business for 20 years.
Yeah.
Um, it's like, I never thought about it that way. Like I just didn't really, bring to the forefront, oh, I should help people that realize they're totally non-creative. Like we were
Yeah,
talking
it
about.
just kind of happened naturally. I mean, I do work with creatives. I have a photographer I'm working with right now. I mean,
Yeah.
I do work with them. It's just a different animal because people who are more linear, so like consultants or engineers or CPAs or lawyers or anything like that, they're super awesome at what they do, but they don't have that creative part of the brain, or at least not to the level that I can take them.
Yeah.
So it is a really good marriage, because they are super intelligent in what they do, and they know what the message has to be. They just need someone to help them get that message out in a sales format, right? Because it's different online. So, but yeah, I do have my who I'll work with and who I won't, because I'm kind of like, I don't know about you, but I've been in this business for 12 years. It's like, trust me and then get the fuck out of my way.
Exactly.
Because I know what I'm doing. It's like you wouldn't have hired me if you didn't know, right?
Exactly.
So,
It took me way longer than it should have to learn that lesson of like, I get to work with whoever I want and charge whatever I want. And
yeah,
if you want to pay that, that's fine. Go find somebody else, because I've only been doing this for like 80,000 hours now or something ridiculous.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so
Now,
that,
that's not to say I'm not open to suggestions, because I love collaboration. And I actually, our clients love that about us, because we all, like, we're not in silos. So our whole team is on Slack, and we talk about clients all the time, and like the developers pipe in and the designers pipe in and the marketing person pipes in. So it's very collaborative. So, but we want to push back. I mean, that's what you pay us for. So
yeah, no, absolutely. And the nice thing is, if you're working with the right people and you're charging the right dollars, then you have the platform and everything to push back, and they want you to push back, and they
yeah.
respect you more when you push back.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of the perfect client for myself. Like, I don't need to know how the widget works. I just want it to work and deliver. I'm a successful business owner, and I just need someone to trust. So when I realized that I was my perfect client, it was like so easy, right?
Yeah.
It's like, duh.
Yeah, no, that's huge. And for me to get there, just to kind of touch on a little bit, it was first just a few years ago, me stopping being paranoid and like actually trusting people, humanity as a whole, like restoring my faith in humanity was the first step. And then I was able to go, oh, like there's life is great, the world is great, I believe that everything's getting better on the whole, which we won't discuss the stats of that, but that's my belief. and and since it's a big bright world, and like I can do whatever I want,
Yeah.
that led me to be able to be more choosy with who I work with, which is opposite of what you would think. Like it doesn't necessarily logically linear, in a linear path go that way. But that was huge, because then I totally free to work with who I want, finally charge what I was worth. Like it just opened up everything for me.
And then you start attracting those people too. So
yeah, exactly.
Woo-woo. Are we going there?
Yeah, apparently.
But see, related. That also ties into the whole fingerprint thing. So I intentionally picked that because I, as a person, believe that we all have a fingerprint. And I'm going to get on my soapbox here. It's like everyone's like, oh, it's been invented. It's like, yes, but your story, your point of view, how you deliver it. I mean, there's always something unique in it. And I know everyone's talking about authenticity and your story and all that, but it is so true. I mean, I grew up on an island and I was in the minority. Like I was like a little white child with freckles and red hair named Pia. And like there were 10% of me in the school, and like I had to stand out, right? And I was bullied because of my name and my hair color and like all this stuff. And so it's pretty innate in me that it's like, don't tell me that I don't have anything to offer, right? So,
yeah, I'm kidding. I was wondering about that. I'm like, it had to be a different kind of world to grow up in down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. And one of my biggest mentors that has really helped me a lot this year, has been saying for a couple of years now, he's like, we are shifting into a relationship economy. It's the
Yep.
exact same thing you just said. It doesn't matter how big or small you are. Nobody gives a shit. It's like, we want to know that we're talking to a real person that cares about us. And the more that companies can create that experience authentically, not synthesize, like actually be person to person, then
Yeah.
the better off they're going to be. And that's how everything should really scale and grow, in my opinion.
Yeah. Because we've gone from person to person so many years ago to like mass marketing and online. And now we're going back, right, to the one-on-one. And it always was there, right? But it got lost because of the noise. So I'm a big proponent of that. I did fight that for a while because there's this thing about, oh, I don't want to be the brand. I don't want to be the spokesperson. But someone's got to do it, right? Someone's got to do it. It's not going to be your team,
right,
unless you want to be a vanilla company and just like everyone else. And, and oh, what if I say something wrong? I'm like, you just got to do you, right?
Right. Yeah. No, that you're totally right. And for me, a year and a half ago, like we've grown really consistently for about 6 years now, which has been nice. I have a phenomenal team and just super thankful for them. And that's probably why that happens. But
it's not you, right? It's always your team.
It is my team. They're awesome.
I love it because I do a lot of networking and connecting with people. It's like, yeah, you're good, but your team, man, they are awesome. I'm like, okay, I'm just leaving now.
Yep. No, they're just rock solid. And I have spent a significant amount of time in like personal development and growth, which is, there's only two primary triggers to me that will grow a company. And that's leading yourself and becoming a better leader, mm-hmm. and then building a team of leaders. Like that's the only thing that will actually move you forward. And for me, I saw growth, and like we had some huge years, like 30-40% growth. And then we consistently were hitting like 20 to 30% a year. And then I felt like we were flatlining a little bit, not like we weren't growing, but I was like, we're not hockey sticking every year.
Yeah.
And I just decided, I watched some people that were really strong in personal branding that I totally disagree with their messaging. But their actions were strong. Like the way that they went about it worked. What they were saying was wrong, which drove me crazy. Still drives me crazy. These two loudmouth people that.
Oh, are we going to call them out or no?
Nah. No.
Let it slide.
People that think that 10xing everything and hustling is not actually the way to build a business. However, I actually studied both of those guys for about 3 months and realized, okay, everything they're saying is total bullshit and it hurts people, which I absolutely can't stand. However, if you just model their actions from a personal brand standpoint, they are some of the strongest personal brand people out there.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, if I can take what the actions that they're doing that are right in the sense that like the business principles work, and I can actually serve and help people, which is what you should do if you're a business owner and entrepreneur, have a positive impact, not just make shit up. Then I'm going to test this. So a year and a half later, it's made me an extra $250,000 for comparatively not a ton of effort.
That's great.
I think this is episode 80 of the podcast, which is a part of that strategy. I went from posting, a few times a week to I post, 8 to 10 times a day typically now. It's so instead of like rejecting the noise level, I decided to become the noise and create my own channel.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it's really been interesting because and I'm sharing this, for your opinion and also obviously for people watching, that when people can only believe about you what you tell them to believe about you.
Yep. People show you who they are.
Yeah. And you can't create that, reach. You can't become even a micro influencer if you don't, actively work at it. But you mentioned something earlier that I want to touch on a little bit because you clearly understand how to do it right. But you said earlier on, like, this was back before Facebook was really big and before it was really noisy and digital. So, 12 years ago, like Facebook, what? Like, I think it wasn't even around yet. It's created right around there, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't public. So it was just for the colleges or whatever. So that happens, social media really starts to enter childhood. I think it's entering teenagehood now.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
and
a
we
really nasty teenager.
it is
He is like driving 80 on a road and
smoking and drinking.
smoking something, and he's not doing his homework, and he's sleeping till noon. He's out of control.
He's addicted. But so what have you observed, like, because I've obviously gone through that too, like what have you observed, because you started your business before all this chaos, and then we had a bunch of chaos, and now I don't really know if we're out of the chaos. um, what are you thinking is going on, and where do you see the trend going? Because I believe it obviously is based around trust and what we kind of started off talking about a little bit earlier, but I'm just kind of curious where you see things going and what your strategy is, or what you'd recommend to people in the current state of chaos. It's not a total state of chaos, but it feels like it sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I've always had the same belief that your website is the hub of everything that you do, no matter what comes and goes. MySpace, Facebook, whatever that is your land, and no one can take it away from you. And it's there in perpetuity. It's a lot of people are like, oh, websites are dead, and you can just make one on Wix. I'm like, no, you can't. I mean, you can, but it's going to be ineffective. So it's even more important these days to have something that's strong and valuable, because of all the noise, and because the fact that people, first impressions, like 3 to 4 seconds on a mobile phone before people are like, yeah, you're not my person, right? You're not my business. And it's always been like that. So actually, one of the reasons I started the business was people didn't have control over their website. It was, when people would build an HTML website and then they would disappear for 2 months, and they didn't give you their passwords to get onto your website. So you had no control. So I did not want that for businesses. I wanted them to have control over their biggest marketing tool in their tool belt, which is their website. So everything we do is encouraging people, which is frustrating right now because, and I totally get why they're doing it, is every platform, including LinkedIn, doesn't want people leaving their platform. So
right.
they're discouraging you from sharing links to your blog or to your videos or to YouTube. I mean, it's just like it is kind of like a kindergarten class, right? It's like, no, you can't go to YouTube. No, you can't go to Instagram. It's just like, oh my God. So I mean, literally, I have conversations every day with other agencies. It's like, oh, did you find a hack on LinkedIn? Oh, just put the link in the comment. I'm like, wait a minute. This is crazy, right?
Yeah.
So I think knowing that, it's even more critical that you have engagement and you have real conversations, because if you do that, then people automatically are going to want to go check you out and Google you. And all they have to do is Google you, right? And then they'll find your website. Mm-hmm. So yes, it was much easier 6-7 years ago where you could just do a blog and do some videos and then lead people over there. But now it's more about, it's just you. Like if people like you, they're going to go stalk you, right? Yeah. And they're going to find out, how can I get more of Gabe or get more of Pia or get more of what they're delivering? So, it's still apropos to be in service, and just all your messaging should be like 90% helping people and educating them and entertaining them. And then 10% maybe like, hey, show me some love or whatever. So that's kind of what I think about where we're going and where we already have started to go. And that's why video is so huge, right? And going live and podcasting, it's like we want the real skin and bones of the founder. We want the people.
Yeah.
Getting on a soapbox. Here are the people.
No, I totally agree. And the thing that that I think will be virtually impossible to kill is drawings on the cave walls.
Yeah.
We all want a story, and if we can continue to stick in story, which is what a video is, it's like it's a faster way to tell the story, right? It's a more personal way to story. So people that can tell the right story and then actually deliver that story are going to win over and over and over, because then if we're talking about voice search and AI, or we're talking about running an event, or if we're, just like you said, your Facebook will tell the right story to the right people, your website, then, that's where it's going to deliver. And what is crazy, what I feel like is happening to a lot of, especially digital marketers, but entrepreneurs as a whole, some new trend comes up, whether it be chatbots or Bitcoin or, voice search or, Facebook Live, which is great. I'm all for it. I do it all the time.
Watch or whatever that is. Yeah.
Then they ride the trend too hard, thinking that that's going to solve the problem. And all of those level out into the same ecosphere of storytelling.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And they ruin it. We ruin it for everyone else.
We do.
Included. It's like, ooh, I remember going to a conference and learning about chatbots, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait. I geeked out, right? And so then we ruined it all. It's not ruined, but yeah, it's the same thing. I think the tenets of marketing, yourself and your business, are never going to change. Yeah. It's pulling back the curtain. It's having conversations. It's moving forward with, how can I help you before I'm asking for help?
Yeah.
I mean, that's till the dawn of ages, that's from way back.
Yes. It's always value first will always work. When I started out kind of really working on personal brand, one of the things I did is jumped into a couple of really big groups and just helped for free. Every week I would help people for 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 hours for free.
But what happens too, and I don't know about you, but what happens for me is I get a full high on doing it. Yeah. I mean, it's like, you don't even need to do business with me. It's like a hobby for me, because you're good at what you do, right? People are loving what you're doing because you're helping them, and you're getting public recognition.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't love that, right? Like you look like a hero.
Yeah, it's the easiest way to get yourself the new form of PR, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Social PR.
Yeah. And you're helping to move, you're helping to bring people, a hand up to get to the next level. I mean, that's got to be good for everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but there's a ton of business out there. I've never had a scarcity issue.
No, once you approach it the right way, there's so much work, and you get more referrals, and the universe opens up and gives you everything you need. And I remember a couple of years ago listening to this guy. I forget if it was $1 million day or $1 billion day that he had. It was some big number, 100 million, or something like that. He did a product launch, and it was like the world's record product launch. And so the guy interviewing him on the Founder Magazine podcast, he's like, "What's the secret?" And he said, "My secret is for 2 years, I invested in my Goodwill bank account." And he said, then when I just needed some help, everybody was happy to help. It's like, it was no big deal.
Yeah.
That just really hit home for me. And was a huge part of driving me to continue working on investing in the market and investing in the ecosphere and just helping people, because that's the fastest, easiest way to have success, right?
Yep.
And it actually helps people the right way, and you're not doing anything slimy or screwing people or being what we all don't want to be, that typical internet marketer that just fucks everybody.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I sleep well at night.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I do a lot of speaking from the stage, because I get the immediate feedback from the audience, and I see the light bulbs going off above people's heads. So I just love it. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about we've touched on it a little bit, but tell me a little bit about some of the things you work on, the projects that you focus on, and who you like serving and helping.
Well, like I touched on before, I love when I have a new client who recognizes that, first of all, that this is a trust relationship. They've hired an expert, and we've got processes in place, and we've got a system. It's tried and true, and they just let us do what we do best, right? And they don't try to micromanage us. Right now, we're working with one of the largest whistleblower law firms in the nation. That's kind of exciting, because they're hard to get a hold of, because they're on, on these big cases, but it's fascinating. I don't know about you, but I've been told you need to niche down into certain industries, and I believe that to a sense. But I get really bored.
Me
I
too.
get really bored. So I mean, I worked with 2 agile management companies 2 years ago. Didn't know anything about agile management, and I learned a ton. Right, so I geeked out on that. Then I worked with an acoustical engineer firm, and I geeked out on that. And I'm like, this is just for my entertainment, and like, this is, so if it's not something that I can really get into, I really don't want to work with that industry. It's kind of selfish, but I want to be entertained too,
We have a running joke around here where it's like, yeah, it's going well, and I'm entertained, and that's really all that matters.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
I'm not entertained, then things start getting broken, not intentionally, but
Yeah.
then I really get into trouble.
I will share though that I have a special place in my heart for local businesses because of my upbringing. My parents were a pillar in the community. They did stuff for the community, and they were well known. They were great networkers, and they understood the value of relationships. And I think Seattle has a great vibe, even though it's super competitive and it's technical. There's a lot of businesses that just do business with me because of where I'm at. They don't have to see me face to face, but they like the idea that they can, and that I'm contributing back to the same ecosystem that they are.
Yeah.
And then and we're kind of on the cutting edge here too. So that helps. But having local, it's not only that, but I have so many connections in my sphere that it ends up helping their business because I give them referrals, I connect them online. I mean, I'm on nextdoor.com, I'm on community boards, and that's what I love, even after working with a client, is connecting them with other resources. So
Yeah, no, you're totally right. That's an easy way to win clients and keep things going and keep building that trust, is just be a connector, just like we were talking about Vlad. Like, I always tease Vlad, and I'm like, you're going to be my first billionaire friend. Like, long before I'm a billionaire, you will be a billionaire, simply because he is so hyper connected.
yeah.
And he's constantly referring people and connecting me to people, and has been a huge part of the success of the show. And it's been incredible. And you're totally right. It's that.
You hear that, Vlad?
Yeah.
Back.
So it's you're totally right. That part of it is huge, and it all, comes back to where we keep circling back to. It's that relationship, and then it's trust, and
Yeah.
that the other kind of part of my journey of like building a personal brand and growing the company even more over the last couple of years is that you start to realize that everybody kind of runs in the same circles, and if you behave yourself, then it's good, and if you don't, everybody knows.
Yep, exactly. So the other thing that I started doing a couple months ago, thanks to Vlad, he's kind of pushed me, is creating relationships and connections with my competitors. They're not really competitors because they're on a different level than I am, but they're people that I aspire to be. They are people I admire. They are in the same industry, but and it's been amazing. It's been so amazing what I've learned and what they've taken away from our conversations. And again, there's so much business here that no one has a scarcity mindset. So, but it's and then I start running into them everywhere, like networking, and, so it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, there's plenty of business everywhere for everybody. Like, there's so many good problems to be solved in our world that there's absolutely limitless money. Like, and people just don't understand that. And it's like, there's very few places, especially in the States and like in modern countries, it's like, there's very few places where there's actually competition that you have to worry about in that sense, especially in this middle tier. I mean, maybe at the Google and Facebook levels, it's different, but even that, like, those guys aren't untoppable either. Like, somebody will knock them over at some point, or they'll be, they'll kind of settle down into, that competitive space. And you're definitely right. There's tons of business to be had, and it's getting out of a scarcity mindset is huge if you actually want to grow your business.
Yeah, it's I would encourage your audience or anyone out there who is a small agency to push yourself to, don't just stalk your competitors. Have conversations with them, learn from them, because they have a need too. I mean, they might have a part of their business that they can refer business to you. That's not my number one goal, but it's still, people want to be recognized and acknowledged. And it's like, if I say to you, how did you do this? Because you did it brilliantly. I mean, they're going to share with you if they're, if they're a good guy.
Yep. Yeah. And I have friends that are technically competitors, and we trade referrals all the time and send each other work. And it's like timing or the right person, it's not always a good fit. So it's actually a great network. So you're completely right. Awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
This is fun.
Obviously, people can go to fingerprintmarketing.com, which I'll drop in the comments here. Is there anywhere else they should stalk you or hang out with you?
Well, I'm friend me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram. Actually, LinkedIn is great, because what I love to do is, if you look at my contacts and if there's anyone in my contacts that you'd like an introduction to, I'm happy to do that for you. So find me on LinkedIn, my personal LinkedIn page, and yeah. Happy to answer any questions after the show.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for being on, Pia. We'll definitely have you back on, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Today's Business Leaders with Gabe Arnold. Remember to subscribe on iTunes. For more information, visit todaysbusinessleaders.com.